I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
My people, how y'all doing today, man? Just want to jump in live right quick, man. Really don't what's going on, man, about the game one. Game one in the books. I know a lot of people out there say, Coach Marv, man, you were talking about we were going to have a blowout victory. You know, you wasn't worried about the Eagles. And when the game started, I guess people thought the Coach Marv was right. But I will say again, man, as I've always said in this team, we're still at a work in progress with mental toughness. And let me sort that out, man, as y'all come in the building, man. You know, I'm not one of those ones to give you a lot of fluff at the beginning. First of all, before I get into my context of why we allow some people to get in the building, man. Yes, ma'am. How you doing today? Tyler, how you doing today? I want to say that for the people that was saw my live stream that was with the watch party and decided to come over and watch the watch party and to join my stream to watch the watch party, man, I really appreciate that. If anybody knows about this YouTube thing, is you want people to like, comment, and subscribe to get your algorithm. But we also have to have, before we get to the point that we can start growing the channel and start doing other things, we have to get to a point where we get watch hours. And I have 64 videos out there, but I got to get over 4,000 watch hours. And so I started putting shorts out there, and that's why when you share it, it gets more people to get out there and watch it, and I can get the watch hours I needed to get to my goal. We have been very fortunate in the last couple of months, man, that my subscribers list has grown. I never thought in a million years that I would be on a YouTube show or have a YouTube channel and have 548 people that was going to subscribe to my commentary. I never thought in a million years that I would be not fearful of being on the camera. Never was that type of person, but I owe this a lot to the Boss Cowboy Sports, man, because he gave me an opportunity 3-4 years ago, man, to just come on his show and just talk about running the football, because we had a conversation on the phone, and I did that show with a phone, and he sent me a link, and I was doing like this because I was holding the phone in my hand as we talked for a couple of hours, and I was moving all around and didn't even have it centered. Then I got to a point where I got my phone and I had a stand. And then I went to the point of getting a laptop and all that stuff. But I never thought, and then we started doing the watch parties, and I started coming on people's shows. And and people was asking to have a show with me, and I would get on their shows, their little skits, their little live shows. I would call on people's shows. So never thought that I would be out here doing this. I love the Cowboys. I understand. I'm an old school Cowboy fan, so I understand the grind that we had before. I understand when we were the toughest team, when we was the most popular team, when we was the most flashy team, but we were still the toughest team. I remember from the times that we won championships, not just the 90s, just the 70s, the same type of mentality. We were very mentally tough. We made those plays in the game, and we made those catches with Drew Pearson, the Michael Irvins, and the runs where there was nobody catching us, and we made those turnovers with our defenses back with Charlie Waters, Michael Downs, Darren Woodson, and James Washington. We made those plays. And now we're at this point of this new Cowboy thing that we got to get over the hump that we make those plays. Those plays are out there. We have the talent, but the focus and the mental toughness it takes to get to make those plays is a part of football that you can't explain, people. We can't explain. You know, we're gonna get to that Jalen Carter incident, but you can't explain what it takes to make those plays. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this game. This game started off with a very, very, very unfortunate incident. Now, I played football. I played back in the day, and I played at Norfolk State University, as some of y'all may know. And spitting on a person is a very one of the worst things you could do. Now, does that happen a lot? Probably more than what you think it does. Do people go crazy? Yes. I've been in some knockdown, drag out fights where people have spit on people, and people have went out and literally tried to hurt them on the next play. I was in college, and when we had a guy that said somebody spit on him, and we had him hopping around all game long. And what I mean by hopping around all day game long, we had linemen looking to clip block him when he's connected with another person, dive into his knees. And some people say, man, well, coach, that's crazy. But it gets that way sometimes. It really gets. Sometimes we have people that lose their head. And I'm not going to speak on a person because everybody knows what type of incident was. But let's think about it. Jalen Carter had these run-ins and these type of mental lapses when he was coming out of college. This is why he dropped in the draft. That's not saying nothing about his talent. But he was known to have a little selfish nature in him. And that was a selfish nature because he tried to get over. And the other thing I don't like about that is two things. And I'm going to talk to you about the Dallas Cowboy perspective of what I didn't like about it. But I'm going to talk about the perspective of, one, spitting on somebody is no place in sports. Two, if a quarterback is talking to you, he's the little man. Do you need to spit on the little man? Do the big lion need to spit on the deer? That's crazy. And the second thing is, I don't want to condone us getting kicked out of the game, but go back to my video that I had out there called Tone Setters. There's anybody out there? I know people that's in the chat right now. Did y'all see my video when I did a live about tone setters? And this is what I mean by tone setters on this team. See, everything is connected. Everything I talk to you about is connected. Because in my coaching, if you have to connect the dots, there's nothing when you're coaching or you're trying to teach somebody that is disjointed. Everything flows into each other because all of it is a part of putting the whole puzzle together. So when I talk about tone setters get this type of stuff rectified, or allows or sets the temperament, or gets everybody in the temperament to say that ain't gonna happen to our player without no repercussions. Tone setters get our players in a mindset that we make plays. And I talked about tone setters, and I knew that was very important to this team because I feel that we have enough talent. I just feel that we have lacking those guys that, and they don't have to be no great players. They don't have to be the frontline guys, but tone setters in anything are the essence of your culture. Let me explain that to you. The tone setters are the essence of your culture. They may not be the best player. They may not be the best players in the organization. They may not be the best player or best person in a group setting. They may not be the best player in any type of group you have. They may not be the best but they are the essence of whatever you're trying to present as a culture. They got that in spades. And they're always going to promote that. So if you're promoting toughness or a tough mentality, you need those guys that are tone setters. And they may be in different quadrants. And I keep going back and I say, you know who was one of the biggest tone setters of the Cowboys in the 90s? And I may mess up his name, but he was from HBCU, and they call him the Shark. He was the guy on the special. If anybody remember his name, but he was the guy on the special teams, and the whole stadium got around him because when he came out there, he did the shark dance, and he ran down the field like a wild man to make the tackle. Same thing with Bill Bates. They set the tone for the team on the first kickoff. And in the documentary, guys talk about them like they were starters. They never made no Pro Bowls. Kenny Gann never made no Pro Bowls. But he was the tone setter, one of the tone setters for the Dallas Cowboys 3 championships. I ask all y'all, who you recognize on this team as being a tone setter? Somebody's got to step up to this point where we see the mentality get set by these guys. And it's got to be a couple of guys. This don't come from the coaching. This is where coaching ends and peer leadership takes over. And this is when you hear that the coaches flow their leadership through the guys that are on the field. But we need that. I was just talking to Boss, man, and me and Boss was talking, and I said, what I felt good about, because I saw a lot of great things. I saw a lot of things that people said, oh, man, we can't do this. This ain't going to be there. But I always say you got to let guys play before we start doing just. And then we just can't have the greatest disappointment in the world. It's expectations. Let me say that again. If you want to have the greatest disappointment, keep using that word and keep utilizing expectations. Because expectations will never, your success will never feed the appetite of expectations. Because once you get to something, the expectations gets higher. Once you do something, the expectations get higher. And you should never, in football, there is nothing known. I hear people talking about the known. A name doesn't make you known because he's playing against another guy. And I say that because if I would have told you that CeeDee Lamb was going to have 115 yards and 7 catches and lead the whole team in reception yards and lead the whole game in reception yards, but likely had a bad game because he dropped 3 crucial passes, you would have said no. If I would have told you that was going to happen. Because you were saying, not CeeDee Lamb, but if I would have told you that was Jalen Tolbert or somebody else, you would say, oh, yeah. That's why I say you can't live with names. This game is so humbling, it only goes with production. And your production has to be done every game. This is where I get on a lot of people because I ask our Cowboy fans. And I'm not talking bad nothing about the guys who was on the live last night, but we fall in that same category. We're the only fan base that let Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones get us so wrapped up into salary cap and what guys getting paid that when we reference our own guys, we talk about their payday. Go around to these other content creators. Go around and listen to people talk to their team, about their teams. We reference that a guy can't do certain things because he's getting paid. So what? I've been around some guys that played in the NFL. And guess what they have said? All of them have said. When they sit around with each other, they know other guys getting paid, some guys get paid, but that ain't what they talk about. They talk about who bust who butt. Who got dominated, because that tells the story. But we reference to say, man, the guy shouldn't make that play. He done got that big payday. He shouldn't make. What? This is the same. Don't we understand that this is how Jerry treat his guys? So now you can't make a mistake because you making money? That makes you not make mistakes? We already equate the guys are supposed to be great because they got an extra contract. Hunter Lipton got a 2-year, $7 million extension. Our Cowboy fans took that like he done got megabucks. This probably ain't got them about $4 million, $5 million, $4 million guaranteed. You probably break the contract down. But we say, oh, he done got paid. Every time our guys get a contract, I don't care when we sign, we say, oh, they done got paid. But I always tell you, salary doesn't make performance. You can have the highest paid players in every position. Listen here. The Dodgers won the World Series. The Yankees, I don't remember the last time they won. The Padres have had one of the heaviest salaries in baseball for the last 5 years. And won nothing. OKC won the highest paid team in the NBA. Golden State, Lakers, all of them were in the luxury tax. Did they win? I think some of us wanted to keep Michael Parsons because we wanted the highest paid non-quarterback on our team. But I really do think, getting back to what I really think this team I think the offensive line is a young, very talented group. Are they at number one offensive line status right now, if they continue to keep playing together and keep humble, and they allow them to attack, this probably could be one of the best offensive lines in the history of Dallas Cowboys. And I don't like to say that in history, but you're talking about with the youth, and this offensive line is coming with, how would I say this? This offensive line is already coming in with more prestige than the Great Wall. Because this offensive line got 3 first-round draft picks, 1 third-round draft pick, and a guy that was an undrafted free agent. If I was to look at this offensive line, Terrence Steele only one that fits the Great Wall when you talk about coming in and their resumes. Because Nate Newton was cut for 2 teams before he got to Dallas. Steph Nassy was a late drafted center that was very undersized, but they say they're going to make him be a great center. Hudson Hawk, their offensive line coach. Mark Tournay was playing on Dallas as a defensive tackle, and they moved him to tackle, left tackle. They moved a guy that was playing defensive tackle to left tackle. Ed Williams came out of Central State, I think 3rd or 4th round. Central State, a black college. Larry Allen was not on the Great Wall, but he came in after that, but he came out of Samoa State, another small school. The guard that came in before Larry Allen, God, I forgot the big guy, but he was cut for many teams. Listen, the Great Wall was a collection of guys that had the mentality, and they were coached, and together they were dominant. But they grinded. They worked to get that way. They didn't come in with the resumes that this offensive line comes in with. This offensive line is averaging less than 26 years old. This offensive line, FAMU, they had 2 HBCU guys, a Samoa State guy. Steph Nassy weighed about 230 in the days that they were with Reggie White and Jerome Brown, massive defensive tackles. Technique was a premium for him. So don't give me that this offensive line, I guarantee you, Philadelphia, our resumes coming into the league is better than Philadelphia's. I don't think they got maybe 1 first-round draft pick out of on Philadelphia team. On the offensive line. So our resumes are better. And what I saw yesterday was good. I didn't have, I like to wait before I watch the film. Some people like to jump on it right off the bat. I like to let it marinate a little bit, especially because we got so long between the next game. I like to see other people do their little thing, and then I go back and watch. But what I saw, because when we do our live show, people don't understand. I watched the live show with my counterparts who do a great job, West Coast, Henny, Amp Sports, Boss Cowboys, of course, is the sponsor of all this. Lou Takes, man, great analogies. We talking about Lou does a great job. West Coast, a OG to this whole thing, the oldest person that was in this thing. all the way in the West Coast. Henny, his cousin, man, we do a great job. But when I watch it with a very calm demeanor. And when I do get upset, but I'm watching it like I used to watch a game when I was coaching, because you have to have a calm meaning, because you have to be thinking. And my eyes are not as good as they used to be because I can't see like I used to be, but I can see the whole field. And I know what I'm looking for. My players used to say, Coach, I thought you were looking that way. How you know that I wasn't lined up the right way? And they used to say, man, Coach is always watching. Regardless of where he's looking, he's watching. And yes, I can see. But I can see in our offensive line. And I said something about BB last night because I saw some things with BB allowing some leakage. But overall, as Schottenheimer said, we're going to be led by this offensive line. And I think this offensive line is not just 5 deep. I really think this offensive line is very deep and very young. And only thing this offensive line needs is game experience. Because some of the hiccups that you saw by missteps or trying to overset or missing certain blocks, I saw guys finishing guys. I saw guys maybe missing some block, but I seen guys finishing guys. I seen some good. I got to evaluate the tight end blocking, but I seen some on that first touchdown, tight end finished the defensive end in the end zone. These are the type of things I'm looking at. I was not really impressed by our receiver blocking. See, a lot of people don't look at that. But those blocks make short gains turn into bigger gains. Pickens got to pick up on his blocking. I was a great component. Everybody can see when I was on X, I always talked about maybe, Tober getting a bad rap. And I want to say this. For all y'all who think the third wide receivers are in the passing game, and y'all see every game that they may get 1 or 2 passes. Because I told you third and fourth wide receivers, if you got a quality tight end and you got 2 quality wide receivers and you throw the ball to the running backs, third wide receivers going to see very little passes. So all y'all out there be so hyped about third wide receivers, that's great. They may have a game or 2 that they might be getting, but they're not going to get a lot. But third wide receivers and fourth wide receivers must do one thing. One, they got to be the most physical receivers on the field. That's why you like a guy, if he's going to be a third wide receiver, to be a big guy. And then 2, if they can't block, their time is limited on the field. If they can't play special teams, their time is limited on the field. And when I watched Tolbert on several occasions just whiff on blocks, and I know he's a third wide receiver and he's not going to get a lot of opportunities to catch the ball, if you can't do your main job and you only going to do another job on a very limited part-time basis, you got to go. Or you got to sit. I said to you this. If you gave somebody a job and their main job was, you had a yard guy. His main job was keeping your grass cut and your hedges done. And on a very limited basis, you might ask him to fix something. Very limited, not often at all. So every time you ask him to fix something that might be out the clear blue sky, he does a great job of that. But he can't keep your grass cut or your hedges done. You gonna keep him around to do something he do every once in a while? Or you gonna get rid of him because he don't do his main job? If he couldn't fix something, but he did his main job with no problem, I'll keep him around because I say, man, well, when I do have to get something fixed, I'll see if he can do it. If he can't, I'll get somebody else. But one thing I know, he keeps my grass cut and my hedges done, and my yard looks immaculate. But if you can't do your main job, why gotta keep you around? I say this about tight ends. Everybody loves the tight end talk about catching. The tight end's main job is blocking. They're going to block more than they're going to ever catch a pass. So you got to be best at your main job. The side job, we'll work with that. Why would I need a tight end, a second tight end, to be in this league, and he ain't gonna he ain't gonna get targeted more than the first guy did. But they say, oh man, he can make one-handed catches. He can get open. Okay, but he can't block. All right. How many targets I got for him? He's not the number one tight end. How many plays I'm gonna run for the second tight end to catch the ball? One play out of every 4 games? So if he can't come in the second tight end and block, what good is he? Y'all remember Graham, the tight end that played for the New Orleans Saints, that was one of the best catching tight ends in the league? And y'all remember he kept going from team to team to team. And everybody like, dog, man, Graham, they got Graham, man, he catches it. Because guess what? He couldn't block or was ain't willing to block. And teams didn't put up with that. I always say, man, if I need somebody to catch the ball, I get a receiver. I don't need no big guy. Because if you can't block, you're not going to be respected. So I ain't looked at the film on Tolbert, but the 2 or 3 plays that I saw that he just whipped and just act like he just standing there, those things are not good. And guess what? If Schottenheimer, if you're trying to start a culture, if you're trying to sell a culture, you're not going to fire Pickens. You're going to get on his butt, but you're not going to fire Pickens. But you can make a mistake and fire another guy. Because little things that are failures are not acceptable. And for the blocks that he gave and whatever, yeah, Fournette should be, it should be another guy that we're going to give an opportunity in week 2. Yeah. You have to set that tone and say, hey, listen, if you are down the pecking list, the little things you must do. See, this is how a team gets out of control with discipline and culture. It's not the big guys. It's when you start letting the bottom half go crazy and get away with stuff. My coach always told me, say, when you water a tree, do you water the top of it or you water the root? He said, is the tree upside down in the soil or is the roots down in the ground? So the smallest things, if you allow them not to get what they need or you don't keep them tight, the rest of the tree gonna fall. The rest of the tree gonna rot. Your foundation is important. So the guys on the bottom, you got to run a tight ship with them. Because their production is not superstar production. So you're going to take missing blocks from them? I mean, total whiffs? See, when you take total whiffs from them, you allow Pickens to miss his blocks. You allow. See, yeah. But see, that's a number 2 receiver. See, when he was at a number 2 and he was getting catches, that's a different story. See, I think the Pittsburgh game, sometimes when you have a good catching game, then you start thinking that, okay, that's what I need to do to get the crowd on me. Then I move down to 3 and 4 wide receiver when the dirty work is required at that position, and you feel, oh, I'm above that now. And in 3 and 4, your butt got to be an excellent blocker. And you got to be, listen, that screen pass, that dump off there through to Turpin over there, and Tobin just whiffed on the first block and didn't even go and get the second block, and then just stood straight up and stood there and just watched Tobin get murderized and stood up there like he was watching a movie with his back to the sideline, outside line. He wouldn't even listen. I would have got a penalty, 15-yard penalty, because I would have went and snatched his ass out the game before the play was even over. Because you left a guy smaller than you left them out to dry, hang out to dry. You let your guy hit him and his guy hit him. You blocked neither one. And for you being a third wide receiver, where I got other hungry guys behind you, that might have been your day. That might have been you. That might have been you. That might have been, and what I mean by that might have been your last opportunity for me. Because like I said, we're not running plays for third wide receivers. They're not getting 15 targets. They're getting, third and fourth wide receivers are getting maybe 5 targets in a game. They might be a big play. They might just be a check down. They might be a first down. But when you out there, we running plays, if they say get to that safety, you better get to that safety. If they say go inside and get a linebacker, guess what? Watch what San Francisco receivers do. Watch the better teams. Watch the Baltimore Ravens. Watch the better teams, how they third wide receivers go in there like banshees and block. If you can't do that, you got to go. If you're a second tight end or third tight end, if your forte is not blocking, I can find somebody else. But I do like some of the things that I saw. Now let's talk about defense. If people were watching the live, everybody was upset by the defense at the beginning. I was not upset because I understand this is the first time this our real defense has been on the field in live bullet action. So it's going to take some time for them to get to going. And it's 2 issues I have. And y'all listen to me good on this, because I think sometimes we talk about players, but I want to just take the 2 issues I have with defense. One issue is this. Sometimes you can have not enough talent, or sometimes you have too much talent. Now follow me on this. Now, I always like to do analogies. And like I said, football is a microcosm. team sports is a microcosm of life. All of it works. And I say everything is relative. That's one of my things. Everything is relative. It works. Everything works basically in the same type of manner, but it's different things, but it's a principle. My dad, and follow me on that. I know this is a crazy story, but my dad is from Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. He used to go back when my mother passed. Every summer he would go to Alabama and spend 4th of July with his family in Alabama. He got 11 brothers, 2 sisters in Alabama. I got 51 first cousins out of Alabama. It's a big family, right? So he would go back before he died. He would go to Alabama, and when one summer he went for like 4 days. Then the next summer he went for a week. Then he went up to 2 weeks. Then he went up for 3 weeks. So when he came back after the 3 weeks, he said, "Son," he called me, my name's Marv. He said, "Hey," and I said, "Dad, how you like your trip?" He said, "Listen, sometimes you can go home and not be there long enough, and you don't get a chance to see everybody and experience everybody." And then he said, "Sometimes you can go home and be there too damn long, and you find out why you left in the first place, and you don't get nothing accomplished because you got too much time." Well, I say that about these Cowboy teams. Sometimes you can have not enough talent where you're trying to spread the last piece of peanut butter. You ain't got enough peanut butter for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but you trying to spread it out as far as you can spread it to get on that bread. But sometimes you can have too much peanut butter that you can't even really get the real taste of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because you're trying to use everything. And this Cowboy team, we got so many defensive linemen, so many players that we want to play, that we want to give opportunity to play, but we can't get no continuity because we're trying to give everybody a chance. When I say this defense is going to get better, because Matt Eberflus should have used this film as an audition if you won't keep playing or not. What's going on, Dak? I don't know what Dak is at. I hope who is it that? You ain't the Dak, are you? But yeah. So I hope he used this as an audition to say, okay, we're going to cut down the rotation a little. We're still going to have a big rotation because there's a reason why you got a big rotation right now. Because you got 17 games. And you're trying to get to that 17 games as healthy as you can get there. So you have a bigger rotation early on, but as it goes along, right? Your rotation gets shorter. When we get past December, when we get past November, the Thanksgiving game, yeah, it's going to be a tight rotation. But at this particular time, we need to tighten the rotation a little bit now because Eberflus needs to find in. He's got to hone in of who plays well with who and set some roles with these guys. And when you set roles with these guys, this is where you're going to become better. And as the game went on, you could start to see guys start to fit their roles a little bit because they started to say, okay, in my rotation, this is what we're going to do. So we need to do that because I've seen a lot of guys flash, but I just think the continuity hadn't gotten there yet. And we need to get that continuity together. If anybody, like I said, I don't have the super chat yet, but if anybody want to put something to the show, that's my cash app. And listen, it's all that's going to go towards the nation of building the show and my show that I'm going to bring on the road when I come to the Green Bay game on September the 28th. Coach Marv will be in Dallas. Hopefully, give y'all some content from the game and do a show with my counterparts in Dallas giving y'all the same content and the same feeling right there in Dallas, rather in the lights. But again, this defense getting that continuity, and this time and I seen some guys play, and I seen some guys get better. And I know a lot of people want to talk about, well, Michael Parsons. Yes, I understand. Yes, listen, a guy like Michael Parsons is always gonna make a team better. You're not gonna say you're better without Michael Parsons. He's gonna make a team better. But if Michael Parsons was hurt, we'd be playing without him. You got to play, man. You got to get out of this mentality and say we can't do this here. What I like about the Eagles was, and you probably got this out their fan base, they didn't cry. They said it was a stupid thing what Jalen Carter did, but hey, we're going to play. And I keep trying to tell y'all that. You can win games without stars. We won games without Dak. You don't want to play a whole season without Dak, but you can, for a short period of time, you can do that because you got to play. I've seen guys win NASCAR races with the last 5 laps where they had a blown cylinder. It ain't going to be perfect. But again, I seen some things on the defense. I told y'all Solomon Thompson was going to be a dog. And he is. If you play him the right amount number of plays, he's going to be a dog. Clark is a dog. Nealon is going to be a dog. All these guys are going to get better as they go along together. Linebackers got to get a little bit more in rhythm. I think we're playing too many linebackers. But I think they got to get in the rhythm of what they're doing. The second thing that I said, the first thing was about getting in the rhythm. The second thing that I said this on the live stream, y'all going to start hearing me on this because last couple of years I was promoting about big plays. We didn't have big plays. And I'm going to post something to show you about big plays. We didn't get big plays, but big plays are in different types of categories. And I'm going to explain what we didn't win the big plays. But I loved our defense because we limited big plays this time. Right? We limited big plays this time. But I would say this about our defense, and this is one of the things I didn't like. And I said on Boston show when we went to the halftime, and my adjustment was, and it seemed like they did a lot of stuff that I said that they should do. I said we need to start applying pressure. We need to start blitzing cornerbacks. We need to start blitzing linebackers and safeties. And that's what we did in the second half because we got them uncomfortable. We speeded them up. I said we have to speed them up because they were too comfortable. And if you don't blitz Jalen Hurts, he's going to allow his offensive line to block, and then he's going to find a way to get out, slide out, because it's already predetermined that he's going to get out certain holes because they got what we call a scramble drill, where you have the offensive line block and they allow certain places, and the quarterback knows he can get out of that. But when you blitz him and you got people running free, that's all bets are off on that. And Jalen Hurts is not going to run over people. If he's crowded, he's going to try to find a place to go down because he don't want to get hurt. That's not saying he's playing smart. But if you put the pressure on him, you're going to get erratic throws and you're going to speed him up, and he doesn't like to be sped up. And that's what they did in the second half. But this is what I'm saying about the defense that I don't like. I said this, and I'm going to keep saying this, and I want y'all to watch this. This defense is an attack defense with your defensive lineman. You're saying your defensive linemen are getting upfield. That's fine. I'm okay with that. One gap defense, they're getting up the field. That's okay. But let me tell you the caveat. Let me tell you what's the other part of that when you talk about the defensive line getting up the field. The other part is that your linebackers and safeties and corners have to be banshees. What I mean by that, they got to be aggressive. They got to be able to diagnose if it's a run, and they got to go. And they got to go forward. Clark, playing linebacker yesterday, was a liability. I think I said this. Clark shows sometimes, but Clark's aggressiveness is gone. He is not the same guy he was at LSU. You never want a linebacker who has safeties behind him in levels of defense that be backing up, retreating on blocks. He's getting in the way of the safeties. We're asking the defensive line to get upfield and force it. They may not get the tackle. Then we asking for the second line of the defense, your linebackers, to clean it up. If they don't clean it up, it's cleaned up by who? The safeties. I've said this again, and I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to say it over and over. My tolerance for our safety play is very little. Y'all don't hear Coach go off on that too often. But my tolerance for Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker is getting very short with me. Because I understand if they play well and play aggressive, they will make the defense a lot better. I'm going to say this again. When I talked about tight ends, what I said, 90% of their job is to block. If they can't block, they can't play with me. Okay. Y'all heard me say this about this philosophy before. When you're offense, when you attack defensive players, you want to make corners tackle and you want to make safeties cover. I mean, you want to make corners tackle and safeties cover. You say, well, Coach, what you mean by that? What you mean by you want to make corners tackle and you want to make safeties cover? What do you mean by that? Well, if the guy was if he a safety, if he could cover so well, guess what he'll be? A damn cornerback. And the safety and the cornerback, if he was the greatest tackler in the world and a hitter, guess what he would be? He'd probably be safety. So what you want guys to do is what they don't do best. And that's how you try to attack them. If I got a safety, and I'm going to say it, I don't usually talk too much about people, but let's say Malik Hooker. Right? He's not breaking up passes. His pass breakups is very minimal. If he's not making plays in the passing game, and he cannot become a enforcer in the run game or in the tackling game, well, tell me what benefit he giving me. If my strong safety can't come from the cover two and see a run and get in that action, then if you got blindfolds on, or you ain't trying to get in action. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't care if you got you on the roof. We don't care if you got you in cover two. Good safeties see it, diagnose it, and they already coming. In this defense, if we're having our defensive line attack, and if our guys on the back end are sitting and waiting, we're going to get killed. It's because you got somebody forcing it till nobody's there to clean it up. Force, clean up. It's almost like we used to call it the broom sweeps and the dustpans is following. Broom sweep, dustman catches it. Broom sweep, dustman catches it. You don't sweep and the broom and the dustman way over here, and you keep sweeping and sweeping, and the dustman goes farther away. You ain't cleaning it up. Force and clean up. So if we want this defensive line to attack, we want the back end to be aggressive. When we move to the second half, we start blitzing. Eberflus, he got the mentality together. And that's why, and when people talk about Leofau is best coming forward, aggressive. But Leofau has some type of reach. Sometimes he has some lackluster thing, but I like his aggressiveness. I'd rather go out with an aggressiveness than guys that's sitting back and wait. Because that's what happened with Shane Barkley yesterday. If you got guys coming up the field, you can't wait on Barkley. You can't break down on him because he's going to lose you. What you got to do is force him, and the other people got to be coming. I want to see this defense attack, and I want to see them attack more from the back end. And maybe blitzing them and bringing Donovan Wilson. Sometimes he brought him in the box, and he plays better in the box. It got his aggressiveness going. But this back end got to be aggressive. If this back end is not aggressive, this defense is not going to work. This back end cannot sit there and say, oh, get them, guys. Get them defensive line. Get them. Y'all got them. And they stand back there like, okay, we got – no. I need safeties that's trying to be stars. It's going to make – and I'm telling you, the safety position in this defense is the key for this defense to be successful. Get us some dogs at safety, and you'll see this defense go. Because, one, dogs are going to run the back end, and they're the ones that are directors of the show. I don't need guys to be a director of the show and not making plays. They got to make plays. So, but other than that, I saw some good things for my defense line. I just think we just a work in progress. But again, this team needs some tone setters. I'm about to get off here now because I don't want to run into other people's shows because I understand they're doing a great job out there. And then they want to, because I'm going to talk to you again because we got some time to talk. And then now, let's talk about one other issue. And I want to say this. Cowboy fans, I know y'all so wrapped up in your own game. I know y'all so wrapped up in your own team. I know some of you are Cowboy fans that y'all don't watch no other football than the Dallas Cowboys. I know some of y'all don't watch no other game on a total basis other than the Dallas Cowboys. Well, we got a chance with these 4 days. There's games coming on. I want you to watch other teams in this NFL. I want you to watch other teams because you're going to find out that the myths that you are hearing about other teams and their players and them not playing with younger players, them not playing with guys that ain't got no names, people that they can run the ball, guys are doing stuff and physical. All the myths that you are saying that you crucify your team in, you're going to find out if you watch other games and really watch them. You're going to find out like, well, you know something? We do that same thing. Well, I used to talk about they got a guy playing that, oh, man, that guy was a 6th-round draft pick, and he started for them. They just got him doing some plays. Okay, yeah, you're going to find out that football ain't different, and you're going to have more. Then you're going to have a more wider view when it comes to your team. But if that's all you watch, it kind of blurs your vision to see that, yeah, man, the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year with a drafted second corner and a slot corner, and we was getting open on those guys, but they won a Super Bowl last year with them, and they got another guy. They play as a team. You'll find out saying, well, other teams are doing this with rookie players, and you're like, then you'll say, well, we ain't got to have all veterans. Other teams playing with some guys, they're coaching up, they're getting by. Why we can't? Then you'll understand. So if you get a chance, watch some other football, please. Get a better outlook, and then we can come back and talk about it. Hopefully, man, in the next week or two, Coach Marv, this show, Coach Marv Real Talk, will get the viewing hours and we'll get monetized where we can start getting super chats. And then I can open up some other arrays of stuff that I want to do for this channel. As well, we're going to get to, if I can get my other equipment, you can see, I don't know if y'all can see in the background back there, but anyway, I got another computer that I'm trying to get some cameras and stuff for, so we can try to get somewhere I can start breaking down some film and bringing down some games. But I'm gonna give y'all the mental aspect because 90 over 60% 70% of this game is mental. And the team that has the better mental capacity as a team overall usually are the ones that come out. It does not mean talent. Dixon was hurt. The Eagles was. I don't think A.J. Brown is totally healthy, but they understood how to will themselves to win a game, and that's where I want the Cowboys to get to. And I want y'all not to get lax because we're playing the Giants and have a lax atmosphere like it's going to be. We're just going to run over the Giants. This team needs to focus and get to that point. And this culture build is going to take a while. It's going to take it. And I'm not upset if we go 3-2 for the first 5 games because I said in this new NFL, the season don't start to the last 12 games of the season. That's where you cut your teeth in this league. But like I said, that was just a general overview that I gave you the Cowboys. There were some things I'm going to look at and check out these content creators out here who are doing all these great films about these players. But let's don't start throwing people off the boat. I know y'all might say, well, Coach, you throwing Jalen Tobin off the boat. Listen, do your job and get your mind on your work, Jalen. And the same thing I say about our safeties. Get your mind on your work. And I know, Donovan Wilson, you used to be a hitman. You used to be a playmaker. I need that guy. I need my safety sometimes selfish to try to get plays. Because they ain't got nobody dedicated to block y'all. Anybody who come to block y'all is a guy that we trying to get there. Let's be aggressive. Just don't let people block us. And until next time, like I said, man, my Cash App is on the screen here. If you'd like to send something with the show, man, I love all the people who's coming. Todd, good, man. Thank you, darling. I really appreciate you, darling. You have great insight. You need to start your show here, man. And when I get to myself going and when I get monetized and I get to starting, Wanye Thomas at free safety would be a great thing. I think Wanye is a better athlete. He's a better hitter. He's faster. He's a little bit more hungrier. The only thing about Wanye is we just got to keep him healthy. He is prone to injury, and he's done got so big right now. So I think he would be a spark. I don't know why we're hanging on. I know Matt Eagles has some history with Malik Hooker, but like I said, it may be time to move on. Malik Hooker is in his last year of his contract. He's a $3 million safety, which is peanuts. He signed a contract so he can stay in Dallas. Let's not make that mistake and not have getting a guy on there like Wanye Thomas or somebody in here who could be a playmaker. I need playmakers at safety. And if you can't be a playmaker at safety, then, think about it. All our great defenses in Dallas history have had playmakers at safety. And let's think about it. Quinn's best defense here, he had 2 playmakers at safety who were making plays all over. Kurtz had one of his best years, and Wilson had his best years that got him paid. And they the safeties ain't been good since then. So, yes, safety's got to be, setting the edge. Now, I see somebody setting the edge. We did a great job of setting the edge in the run. Our run defense was pretty good. Outstanding. If you take quarterback runs, I told you everybody a couple of years that it can kill your run game stats. Now, how you stop the quarterback, well, how you get rid of some of the quarterback runs, get sacks. And the sacks go against the quarterback runs. But we didn't get that many sacks. But again, I think there's a lot of issues with just getting fooled and not staying there, not being trusting, staying in our lanes. Staying in your lanes is a trust factor. Some people say, no, it's a discipline factor. No, it's a trust factor. Because you have to trust the guy that's in the inside lane that he's going to do his job. And I'm on the outside lane to flush him back to him. And he's there to flush him to me. We got to trust that guy's going to be there. And what if he's not there on the play? The next play, we got to do what? Trust him again. If he messed up that, we got to trust him again. Or we got to come to the sideline and say, I'm trusting you. You can't break that trust, because that time you break that trust and say, I don't think he inside and I'm going to dive in there, do you give up a big play? And then who's wrong on that? Everybody's wrong. It's about trust. No, you're not crazy, dog. You can be. You got great commentary. You got very good commentary, and those things. That is some good stuff. Yeah, McAfee's style is way to attack, but he did a lot of attacking in the second half. You gotta understand your what gets your team together. Um, and he got to understand it. And listen, I'm gonna say this again. I've said this on a show, and I'm saying, and y'all may understand this. This is this first team. This is the first time this coaching staff has been in a full-fledged war with these players. This is the first real, first real game. All that preseason game we playing, what name we got a certain plan, practices, but this is the first. So your players are learning your coaches, and your coaches are learning your players and how they react and what starts them and what gets them upset and all that. And hopefully we are learning from this. And Matt Eagles said, hey, I got to get these guys attacking. And after I attack, then when we get people speeded up, then we probably can sit back and wait on. But at first, we got to attack. Nealon has played very well last night. Again, I will always say this about film, folks, and think about this. Sometimes we look at a player and we think they played better, or we look at our team and we'll say it's been a horrible performance, but the film may show that it wasn't that bad. We just had, or sometimes we may think that they had a great performance and we watch the film and like, okay, it was good, but not great. So pump your brakes when you talk about players and about how great they played because of flash. You need to be able to say, okay, let's watch this team, this player. And I'm not saying that neither, that's some of the guys that you point out there, they have a great game. But always, film always makes stuff look a little bit less than what it was, or a little bit more than what it was. But great comment, G. Brian. That's a great observation. That's a good eye when you were watching that. And please make sure y'all hit the like button, share this, make sure you subscribe, man. Comments are great, man. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I appreciate all the people that support a old guy coach that knows football. More than the coaching, man. I coach defense. I cut my teeth as defense coordinator first. And health issues got to the point where I got out of it because of a blood pressure issue. Then I went into my other profession, but I do still communicate with a lot of guys. A lot of guys still come and get a lot of advice from me. But I love the Cowboys. I understand where it's coming from, but I love y'all because it just giving this to you in a way, because you understand I'm going to give it to you in a way that's, because football is a microcosm of life, man, and you can see how football and sports can tell you how things are flowing in real life. Football teams now don't want to be patient. If you have a running game, people think you're boring. You know, in life, if you have a great job and you're not famous, people think you're boring, but you might have much paper and have a good time. So we just have to be a little old school, a little new school, but we just have to be. This team has to get mentally tough, and mentally tough takes a while, but we need to get mentally tough because it's time for us to stop saying the almost. And what I don't like, something I don't like about this team, and I hope, and this goes back to what I talked about the tone setters. Yeah, I like what CD Lamb said, it's all on me. But I didn't see a guy that was really hurting. And I'm not this. Okay, let me correct this, because people gonna say I'm saying that he doesn't care. But you got to get to the point where it hurts. It's not that I'm gonna be better, that it really breaks your heart losing. That's not saying you can't accept losing. Not saying you're gonna win all the time, but you got to have that mentality that it's not acceptable, and you have to be able to get through it. You don't want to get to the point saying, "Well, I'll be better next." Because if you have that mentality, say, "I'm going to be better the next time," what happens in the playoffs? There is no next game to the next season. What happens if you get to the Super Bowl? There is no next game. So you can't carry that mentality and say, "Well, I'll be better next time." I know that sounds crazy, and you can't do nothing about it after it is done. But I had a great coach, one of my greatest coaches, Coach Tom Marv. And y'all might have heard me say this. You know what he say? You got one time to look bad. When you did a drill with him and you got up there to that drill and you got beat, you be like, let me go again. I'm gonna go again. He said, no, get to the back line. You got one time to look bad. And you don't know when that time is, but you got to be ready for the moment. But if you go into that moment saying, okay, if I mess up this time, I get it next time, might not be no other moment. So you got one time to look bad. So you got to be on point for what you do. And you got to be on point to get, because you got one time to look bad. So again, thank y'all so much, man. Thank y'all for joining in with me. Follow these other content creators, Boss Cowboy, Law Nation, Lou Takes, Henny, Landlord, Big Time Show, DMV, Mark Holmes, Big Game James, Skywalker, Vosh. Oh man, Vosh and what they're doing a great job. If you go by their shows and you stop by a Coach Marv show and you go to their shows and you step in their shows, make sure you put $1, $2 super chat in there and say, hey, Coach Marv sent me over here. Because we want to let our people know that, hey man, we are supporting them and we are with, because we all one nation under a groove. That's all we are, one nation under a groove. And that groove is to get to 6. Until next time, people, salute. We get ready for next week. Go out there, watch you some football, and let's get ready, Cowboy Nation. Peace.